So you know how you sent over that Brené Brown book, Daring Greatly?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's been coming up everywhere lately. Like it's really hit a nerve with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so.
And, at the heart of it, there's this really big idea
Right.
that vulnerability isn't actually a weakness. It's like this core part of being brave.
It's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It suggests that being your true self can actually
Yeah.
completely change our relationships, our work, like everything.
It's about showing up authentically.
Exactly.
And I think what makes Brown's work so powerful, especially with something that feels, kind of theoretical maybe at first, is that it is based on tons of research.
It's not just like her opinion.
Exactly, yeah. It's based on data on how we actually operate.
Right. And connect emotionally.
Yeah.
Now, the title itself, Daring Greatly,
Mm-hmm.
that comes from Teddy Roosevelt.
It does, yeah.
The man in the arena.
A man in the arena, yeah.
And I love that image of someone stepping into, like, the middle of everything.
Right.
Taking action, even though they might, face setbacks and all that.
And knowing that there's going to be, setbacks and challenges and...
Right, but choosing to actually engage with life rather than just staying on the sidelines and being safe.
Exactly, yeah. I think Roosevelt's words really get at the heart of what Daring Greatly is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's that willingness to be seen.
Yeah.
That courage to be authentic.
Even with all the
imperfections and all.
Imperfections, yeah.
It's the emotional risk we take when we really put ourselves out there, right?
Mm.
Our ideas, our feelings, our efforts, knowing that there is a chance that, we might face criticism or...
Yeah, that we might fail.
Or failure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, when we talk about daring greatly, what we're really talking about is this act of showing up authentically, being who you truly are, and taking those emotional risks, right?
Yeah.
Even when things maybe don't work out the way you hope they would.
Yeah.
So our goal in this deep dive is to kind of explore why Brown argues that this vulnerability is actually a source of strength.
Right.
And I think even more importantly, how you, listener, can start to integrate this into your own life.
It's really practical.
It is, yeah. So, okay, let's dive in.
Okay.
This idea that vulnerability is actually the basis for connection.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. And it's kind of, it's interesting, right?
It is. It's almost like the opposite of what you would think.
Yeah.
Because so often we think, okay, I need to present this perfect image.
Right, yeah. Like, I need to have it all together.
Yes, if I have it all together, then people will like me.
People will want to be friends with me.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But Brown's research really shows that it's the opposite.
Yeah, it really consistently points in the other direction.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
That actually those really strong relationships, they're built on trust and being open.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability is
it's the key.
The key. It's the thing that makes that trust happen.
It's the way that we signal to other people that we're willing to let them see us.
Mm-hmm.
The real us.
The real us.
Not this perfect version that...
Like a facade.
Yeah, a facade.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, and Brown even talks about this, that even small acts of vulnerability early on in a relationship make a huge difference in building that trust.
Yeah.
Sometimes even more than just always showing that you're competent.
And always, being you've got it all figured out. Yeah.
Right, like having all the answers.
Yeah.
So it's really like flipping the script on everything we think we should be doing.
It really is, yeah.
And it makes sense, right? If you think about the people who you're closest to, is it the person who seems to have it all together?
Yeah.
Or is it the person who's willing to be like, hey, I'm struggling with this?
Yeah. Right. Or, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Or I need help.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the people who are willing to, let us see their humanness.
And the book gives this really helpful example of these coworkers.
Oh, yeah.
John and Sarah. And John, he's always acting like he's on top of everything.
Right. Yeah. Never shows any vulnerability.
Never.
Like he's got it all figured out.
Got it all figured out. And then there's Sarah who's like, hey, I could use a hand with this, or I'm not sure, but let's figure it out together.
Yeah.
And it's so clear. Who are people going to connect with more?
It's clear. Yeah. I mean, Sarah's...
Sarah.
Yeah. It's so much easier to relate to her.
Right.
Because she's being real.
She's being real.
Yeah.
And John's like...
John's kind of got this wall up.
all up, yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to connect with someone who never seems to,
right.
struggle or have doubts.
Yeah.
Sarah's just being open.
And that's like an invitation.
It is, yeah.
You know?
Totally.
When she admits that she needs help or that she doesn't know something, that creates an opportunity for other people to collaborate,
to
support her.
And it shows that she trusts them.
Exactly.
Right. Like enough to be real with them.
Yeah, and that relatability is so key. Whether it's at work or with friends or in our families.
Yeah.
It's that shared human experience, right? Where we acknowledge that none of us have all the answers all the time.
Right. We're all just figuring it out.
We're all just figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what connects us.
And that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
So being real, showing your true self, even the parts that are a little messy, that's what makes us relatable.
Yeah.
And that's what ultimately builds trust.
Yeah.
Okay? So if vulnerability is so important for connection,
right.
What are the things that get in the way?
Right.
What keeps us from being vulnerable?
Yep.
And the book talks a lot about shame.
Shame is a huge one, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really powerful inhibitor of daring greatly.
And how does she define shame?
Brown describes it as this really intense, painful feeling of believing that we're just like fundamentally flawed.
Like there's something wrong with us.
Yeah. And because of that, we're not worthy of love and belonging.
It's like that inner critic saying, you're not good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's really tricky about shame is that it thrives in secrecy.
It does. It loves the dark.
It does, yeah. The more we try to hide the things that we feel shame about, the more power shame seems to have.
It's like it grows in the darkness.
It does, yeah. It's like a negative feedback loop.
Yeah, and it's like that uncomfortable truth that you just don't want anyone to know.
Right.
And the longer you keep it to yourself,
the
bigger and scarier it seems.
The more it like takes over.
Yeah, it just takes over.
Yeah.
And the book gives this example, which I think we could all relate to.
Yeah.
Think back to a time when you made a mistake. Like maybe you gave a presentation that totally bombed.
Right.
Or you said something super awkward at a party.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that initial feeling is already bad enough.
It's cringy, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cringy.
Yeah.
But if you just try to bury it and pretend it never happened,
right,
it just keeps eating at you.
It does, yeah.
But if you tell someone you trust, someone who probably gets it, because they've been there too,
right,
there's this huge sense of relief.
It's like a weight lifted off your shoulder.
It is, yeah. It's like a huge weight just gone.
Yeah. And that's what vulnerability does, right?
That's exactly it. That act of sharing, that moment of vulnerability, brings the shame out into the light.
Right. You're not hiding anymore.
Yeah, you're not hiding.
Yeah.
And it actually loses its power.
Yeah.
It's like debunking a myth that we've created in our heads.
Totally, yeah. And we often think, oh, if people see this, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
But when we share it, usually we get
understanding.
Empathy.
Yeah.
And that directly counters those feelings of shame and isolation.
Right. Because shame wants you to be alone.
Yes, exactly.
It wants to isolate you.
Yeah.
So this is where being vulnerable and having self-compassion are like the most powerful tools to fight shame.
Yeah, absolutely. Vulnerability lets us break that cycle of secrecy. And self-compassion lets us be kind to ourselves even when we mess up.
Because we're going to mess up.
We are, yeah. It's going to happen.
We all do.
Yeah.
So it's not about not messing up. It's about how we handle it.
It's about how we respond to ourselves.
Exactly.
What we do.
Yeah. So our natural instinct is to hide our imperfections, right?
Yeah.
To avoid judgment.
Right. We think we're protecting ourselves.
But actually, that just feeds the shame.
It just makes it worse.
It makes it worse, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's being willing to be vulnerable and show our true selves, even the flawed parts. That's how we start to, like,
dismantle that shame.
Take the power away from it.
Yeah. Take away its power.
Okay. Now, another big obstacle that Brown talks about is perfectionism.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this is something that so many of us
it's so
struggle with, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this message that perfection is the goal, right?
It's everywhere.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that if we can just be perfect in how we perform or how we look.
Or how we act.
Then we'll be accepted and valued.
And loved.
And loved, yeah.
Yeah. But Brown's research shows that perfectionism isn't actually about trying to be excellent.
Yeah.
It's actually about fear.
It's about fear of failure.
Fear of failure.
Fear of judgment.
Judgment, yeah. It's like we're trying to protect ourselves.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah. Feeling inadequate.
Right.
And she makes this really interesting distinction between healthy striving.
Right.
and perfectionism. Because you can strive for something.
You can.
Without being a perfectionist about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, healthy striving is self-motivated.
Yeah.
It's about growth.
Yeah.
Perfectionism is all about shoulds and fear.
It's like, I should be this, I should be that.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of not being good enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very different energy.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we think, if I can just be perfect enough, no one can criticize me.
And I'll be safe.
I'll be safe, yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, that pursuit of perfection, it can be so paralyzing.
It can, yeah.
Because you're so afraid of not measuring up.
Right.
That you don't even try.
You don't take any risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the book talks about how it's better to focus on progress and being authentic.
Right.
Than chasing this idea of being flawless.
Yeah, it's about valuing the journey.
Yeah.
And being real.
And being real.
Rather than trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because perfection doesn't really exist.
It doesn't, no.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And think about it this way. When you connect with someone, like maybe it's a YouTuber you like.
Right.
Or a musician or a speaker.
Yeah.
Is it their perfect image that draws you in?
Right.
Or is it that they're willing to be real?
It's the realness.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
To share their struggles along with their successes.
Yeah, I think it's their willingness to be vulnerable.
It is, yeah.
That makes them relatable.
Because it makes them human.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the same for us.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
When we share our imperfections authentically, it can actually make us more likable.
Yeah.
And more trustworthy.
Yeah. So it's like this crazy paradox.
It is a paradox.
We think we need to hide our vulnerabilities to be accepted.
Yeah.
But it's actually being willing to show those imperfections.
Yeah.
That allows us to connect.
That makes us human.
Makes us human, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored how being vulnerable builds connections, how shame holds us back, how perfectionism is like a trap.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about this idea that courage can be contagious.
Oh, that's such a cool idea.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really empowering.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So when one person is vulnerable and steps into that arena, it can inspire others to do the same.
It's like giving them permission.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you did it. Maybe I can do it too.
Yeah. And it can be really inspiring.
It can be.
To see someone else take a risk.
Right.
Or share something difficult.
Or embrace their imperfections.
Yeah. It makes us feel less alone.
It does.
In our own struggles.
Right.
It shows us that it's possible.
Yeah. And the book talks about these influential figures, leaders, entrepreneurs, artists, who took risks and showed vulnerability.
Yeah.
And how that made a huge impact.
And often it was their vulnerability that really allowed them to connect with people.
Right.
And to create change.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, think about J.K. Rowling.
Oh, yeah.
The book says that her Harry Potter manuscript was rejected 12 times.
12 times.
12 times before it was published.
Oh, my gosh.
Imagine that. She could have given up after, like, 2 or 3 rejections.
Easily.
Right.
Yeah.
But she kept going.
She was persistent.
She was so persistent.
Yeah.
She dared greatly.
She did.
Even though she could have failed.
And I think that's, that's what makes her story so powerful.
Yeah. And her vulnerability, her willingness to keep trying, even though she was getting rejected.
Right.
Led to this, like, global phenomenon.
It's incredible.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of resilience in the face of vulnerability is so inspiring.
It is. It gives us hope.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about, like, huge world-changing things.
Right.
It's about everyday things, too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, when you dare to share an idea at work, or express a difficult feeling in a relationship, or finally state that project you've been putting off.
Right.
Your vulnerability can actually encourage other people to do the same.
It creates a ripple effect.
It does, yeah. And it makes it safer for everyone to take risks.
It's like you're setting an example.
You are, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're starting this little spark that can turn into a big fire.
I love that image.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
So this is all amazing, right?
It is. It's really insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do we actually apply this?
Right. How do we actually dare greatly in our own lives? Okay. Yeah. That's the key question.
That is the key question.
Yeah.
And Brown gives us some really practical steps.
Yeah, she does.
And the book highlights 3 that I think are super important.
Okay.
So the first one is to embrace imperfection.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is about challenging that idea that we have to be perfect to be loved and accepted.
Yeah.
It's about accepting that we have value just because we're human.
It's just because we exist.
Yeah. Not because of what we achieve or how perfect we are.
It's about self-acceptance.
Self-acceptance,
Yeah.
With all our flaws and vulnerabilities.
Warts and all.
Warts and all, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is hard.
It can be really hard.
It can be, yeah.
Especially in a culture that's so focused on perfection.
Right.
But there's so much freedom in that idea.
There is, yeah.
That you don't have to have all the answers. That you don't have to be perfect all the time.
It can just be you.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The second step is to speak your truth.
Oh, that's a powerful one.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is about finding the courage to share your thoughts and feelings with people you trust.
Yeah. Doesn't mean oversharing with everybody.
Right, no. It's about being selective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about nurturing those relationships where you feel safe.
Safe, yeah.
Yeah.
And where you can be honest without being judged.
Yeah. It's about creating those pockets of safety in our lives.
Where you can be vulnerable.
Yeah. And practice that vulnerability.
Right.
And this might be with a close friend, a mentor, a therapist, people who have shown you that they can handle your vulnerability.
Right. With kindness and understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might feel risky.
It can, yeah.
To share your truth.
But it's so important for breaking down that shame and building real connection.
Deep connections.
Real connections.
Yeah.
Okay, and the third step is to take more risks.
Okay, yeah.
And this is about stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
In your personal life, in your work.
Yeah.
It could be applying for a job that you think you won't get.
Right. Going for it.
Yeah, going for it. Or starting that creative project.
Or expressing your feelings.
Expressing your feelings, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about choosing to step into that arena.
Right.
Even though you might fail or be criticized.
Yeah.
It's about knowing that real growth and opportunity often come from doing the things that scare us a little.
It's pushing those boundaries.
Yeah, pushing those boundaries.
Yeah, of what feels comfortable.
Of what feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And safe.
And safe, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, daring greatly isn't about being reckless.
Right.
It's not about just throwing caution to the wind.
Yeah, it's not about being careless.
No, it's about being thoughtful.
It's about showing up authentically.
Yeah, and being intentional.
Yeah, being intentional and engaging wholeheartedly in whatever it is that you're doing.
Even if you don't know what the outcome will be.
Even if you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about valuing the effort and the intention behind your actions, regardless of the result.
Yeah, so it's not about the outcome.
It's not just about the outcome.
It's about the process.
It's about the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to sum it all up, the big message of daring greatly and what we hope you take away from this deep dive is this. Courage isn't the absence of fear.
Right.
It's about showing up and being yourself even when you are afraid.
Yeah.
And that vulnerability, that willingness to let people see your imperfections isn't a weakness at all.
It's a strength.
It's a strength, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the foundation for so many of the good things we want in life.
Right.
Deeper love, more creativity, even more success.
It's the birthplace of connection.
It is, yeah. Of innovation.
Of resilience.
Of resilience, yeah. And by embracing vulnerability, we not only build stronger relationships and overcome shame, but we also inspire other people to do the same.
We create a ripple effect.
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
And that ripple effect can change the world.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can make the world a more courageous place.
A more courageous and authentic place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, our listener, the one who brought this book to our attention, here's a question for you to think about.
Okay.
What's one specific thing you can do today to embrace a little more vulnerability, to dare greatly in your own life?
Yeah, what's one small step you can take?
Yeah, it could be having a real conversation with someone, or admitting a mistake at work, or starting that project you've been putting off.
Or anything else that gets you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, anything that gets you out of that comfort zone.